Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here at Earth and Sky. We appreciate each and every one of you. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, like our video, share it out. It makes us really happy. So one of the things we wanted to talk about today actually leads in a bit with happiness. And comfort and fear and worry and the ebb and flow of life.
And worrying.
And I've noticed, one of the things I've noticed quite a bit lately is I've had a lot of clients coming to me, especially over the last week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, really the last week and a half, it seems like.
That's a lot.
That have been going
a short
through,
time
yeah, several in this short time frame, that have been going through some of the ebbs and flows of life. Life always has these peaks where we feel like everything is flowing well and we're excited.
And I don't ever want it to stop.
And then we have the ebbs of life, where we kind of go into these little downturns. Things might feel like they're going the wrong direction, or curveballs may feel like the hits keep coming.
Like all your vehicles won't run and nobody can figure out how to fix them, and no matter what you do, you have more stuff to pay for to fix.
That might be one of the ebbs we've been going through.
I just, as an example of what somebody could be going through.
It could be someone. And you and I have had a lot of ebbs and flows, like extremes of that through the years that we've been together.
We're really good at the extremes of
both
that.
ends of
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, we seem to always have ways to laugh through it, amidst the stress, continue to laugh, know that we're going to figure it out, know that we'll find a way.
Yeah, I have to say, there's times it seems like people, they lose sight that there's a tomorrow almost. I mean, is that...
Yes, and that's exactly one of the things I've been noticing quite a bit with people lately, is that sometimes they feel like they're, underneath it currently, and they
under the boulder.
Seem to feel like they can't see their way out. There's this fear that comes in. Sometimes it's a self-doubt that comes in. Sometimes it's an overwhelming worry. And there's this pervasive feeling that I notice in them where they almost wonder, is this ever going to get any better? It's almost as though they feel like this is the way life might always be forever and ever, because the energy feels so heavy.
And it's just going to get worse, and there's never going to be a happy time again.
Maybe I'm not
like no tomorrow or whatever.
Exactly. Or just
I mean, that's
struggle,
to me, But I mean, because tomorrow, I mean, in theory, tomorrow should be possibly a better day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
every day we wake up, it's a brand new.
You have that chance,
awakening
right?
In our soul.
Yeah. I mean, now I have to say, I think we have, with some of the things that we/you specifically have been through, where
we've been through some of the depths.
I mean, when you're worried for me, when worrying every morning, when I woke up, you weren't going to be here anymore.
That's significant.
And but it's also kind of a beautiful thing. It really you learn at your core that each day is so precious.
Yes.
And it puts things in perspective of the fact that we're having trouble with cars. Yeah. I mean, it's a hassle. And sometimes getting around, we almost can't do. And oh my God, another bill. And oh my God, I mean, and there's...
Where will the money come from?
I mean, and it's like, are we too buried? And is it getting too dark? And is there too much? But it's never like that, because it's just money. It's just vehicles. Mm-hmm. It's just... We've had more money and we've had less money. We've had worse times. We've had amazingly better times, and I would love for it to be better times, but we
today, know we'll get through it.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people are looking for, is that ability to find within, how do I know I will get through this? How do I know? How do I have some certainty that there's something to learn from this, and that I know that, there's a reason for this, and that there will be brighter days ahead? How do we continue to maintain that feeling?
Now that's interesting, because when you say that, I think of the easiest way to know is to reflect.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I mean, reflect on your day, reflect on your week, month, life.
Decade.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, reflecting on your life, both, now you don't only do it when things are bad.
Right.
Because
that
your
would not be
perspective
smart.
would be, oh, I did all, it's not only this bad now, I've had all these other bad times too. That's not what you want to do. No, you want to reflect all the time.
Every day. to
Every
have
day.
time.
I mean, that's what, so I've had talked to people and recently, and one of the things in a couple of conversations that came up, I was like, well, it doesn't, I mean, when you reflect at night, what does that say to you? You know, what do you think about and stuff?
Yeah.
And they just kind of went, what?
And we've had a few conversations. I think sometimes people don't realize how to reflect, because I was surprised by the number of people we've encountered lately that actually don't take a time out to reflect. Why did I make this decision? How did that work when I chose to do this?
Yeah.
What are the patterns that I'm seeing in myself? What are the patterns and choices I've made over my life, from childhood, adolescent, adulthood, last week?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think a lot of people maybe don't have the skill of knowing, what does it mean to reflect?
Okay, so yeah, and that's such a shock to me, because I've always, at the end of the day, there's always something that happened that I think is important. There's always something that was important. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it just is, but it feels important. And I usually go over that at the end of the day, at least one major thing. And I think about, okay, what was that person thinking? If it was between me and somebody, let's say. So what was that person thinking? And I know what my perspective was. I know what I thought. I thought da-da-da-da-da. But then once I try to grasp their perspective, and then I go back to my perspective, and it's like, okay, was there a way I could have approached it differently? If I had approached it differently, I wonder how it would have played out differently. If I had said something different, if I had paused, and there's always that when you walk away from a situation and you think, I should have said blah, 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 that's what I should have said. I mean, even that,
Sure.
Just using all of those, creativeness that you can come up with in your head of, how could this have played out differently? How could I have approached it differently? And is there a way? I know it's usually pretty easy to come up with stuff that would have come out worse. I mean, that's not too hard. I could have said something mean. I could have, what I mean?
Sure, and that's not the point. of
No,
reflecting.
but even that, realizing what the differences are, can really help. Learning,
Okay.
if I had said the mean thing, how bad would that have gotten? Could I have said something that they might have found funny? Is there something I could have said that would have turned it where I could have got my point across, and it actually didn't turn into whatever it did? Now, I also do that with the good things. So when the good things come up, I go, well, at first I'm like thankful that I'm glad I did say that. I wish, I could have said that too. That would have been really nice. But I could have said, and I'm glad I didn't say that. And I know me, and I know I probably was thinking, and I'm glad I didn't say that, But there's all of these things that when you reflect on those moments, when you go back and you just, even if you pick one, but the trick is when you'll find, once you pick one and you do that multiple times in a row, and the more you start doing it, all of a sudden you start reflecting on, you start seeing your own patterns. And that's something that we are so easy to go, well, no, this is the way I've always approached this thing in life. It's just, that's the way it is, not that's the way I see it.
Right, perspective.
And that is such a huge perspective, is to understand the difference of, am I reacting in a way because it's the way I want to react, or am I reacting because I have all of these things I've learned in my life and I've decided that's the only way I can think to react, so that's how the world has to be.
Right.
And that's very different, because if you think that's how the world has to be, it doesn't. It's
there
a
are
choice.
a million choices with
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of the power comes in with this, the ability to recognize whatever the ebb and flow of life is, whatever moment you're in at that time, we have umpteen possibilities.
Yes, there's always a
so
thousand.
many different perspectives
Yeah.
that we can take on. And one of the things I always take with my own reflection when I like to see how did I do, what are my patterns, I'm very big on patterns within the self, you know,
Yes.
figuring out what motivates me, what drives me, what are the things that I wish I was doing better, where do I feel like I need to increase efficiency, or you know, whatever the aspects are that
Pattern.
I'm working with, the patterns, exactly. And the question that I always reflect on, because as you know, I don't like the terms good and bad, really.
Right,
I
yes.
feel like those are labels that are defined by certain perspectives. There will always be
And feelings.
some emotion for sure, but there will always be some that feel like this is good and others that will feel like that is bad. And so it gets very washy in there. But the question I ask myself is this decision that I made, or this pattern that I see as I'm reflecting in my life, the way I made my choices, the things that I chose to do, the motivations I have, is this a reflection of the legacy that I want to leave when I'm gone from this earth? That's my main gauge of everything. Is
To
this
keep that arrow pointed
Yes.
in the right direction.
Yes, because it's always, I feel like the foundational element of living the best
Yeah.
life that we can is figure out what is the legacy you want to leave. What
Yeah.
is it you want to let as a lasting thing?
Yeah.
We are not immortal, but our legacy can be immortal.
Can be, yeah.
And the legacy sometimes that we have may not be everyone remembering our name, but it may be those changes that were instilled in the way you affected people, the way people felt around you, that changed the butterfly effect through
Right.
things in
Yeah.
their lives.
Yeah.
And doing that, creating our legacy, really comes from knowing who we are in every moment and recognizing we are not the same person that we were 10 years ago.
Right.
We are not the same person that we
Hopefully.
were 25 years ago. Hopefully. Hopefully not even quite the same person as last week.
year.
Every
last week.
week,
Yeah.
every night, we're being remade anew. Our soul is able to take flight, to be able to heal, to restore itself, so that we can have our fullness, our presence
Our chance at the best us
in the
again.
present moment.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Every single time the sun comes up,
Yeah.
it is like a new renewal, a new rebirth that we have within ourselves. And that is a new opportunity to build on the legacy that you are creating. Every action, every motivation, every thought that you have, every word that you speak is part of the legacy that you're creating. So it's not about good and bad. It's not
Right.
reflecting with judgment.
Right.
It's not saying, looking back and thinking, oh my gosh, I did so terrible. This was awful. It's not looking back and going, wow, I did the best. I'm so amazing. This is incredible. It's about, is this the legacy that I want to leave? Am I leading my life in a way that I'm proud of?
Now, so with that, so when you were talking about the ebb, is the kind of the downturn where things are challenging and life's really throwing stuff at you.
Our learning moments.
Yeah. So in that, so your perspective of what kind of legacy you're leaving is, even when things are hard, do people think I'm still approachable? Am I still thoughtful? Am I still...
Am I holding up to my integrity?
Yeah, even when things are really hard.
Yes, because that's when our soul is really being tested. It's in those hard moments. It's easy to be great when you're
it's easy when it's
flowing.
easy.
Like, oh, I can give, I can share,
of course,
I can do this.
Yeah,
But when
everything's
it's hard,
everything just falls into place.
a lot of our character and the degree to which we have learned, the degree we're integrating our best potential that is in us, is when we're in those challenging moments. And that's why we have the ebb and flow of life.
Yeah.
Because we need those times that are challenging to give our soul a chance to really soar amidst the challenges. If it was always easy, then
We wouldn't learn
there's
anything.
no gauge. Yeah, but it's in those moments where we are really tested. It's in those moments where the opportunity for the opponent to come in and press in some doubt, press in some fear, those moments where we recognize that we let the voice of our soul rise instead of the voice of the opponent, the ego in us, and we say, you know what? This is going to be okay. I've got this.
Yeah.
I have support. I know where to learn.
And I've been at least close to here before.
Yes.
Is almost every time.
Most of the time.
Almost every time you've been there or right near there
At
before.
some point.
And it got okay. I mean, it will work out.
Exactly.
All you have to do is wait, move forwards, and give it time. And
Yes.
it will turn around.
And trust.
And trust,
Have
absolutely.
certainty in the light. I
Yep.
think that's a big one. I know that when we were going through some of the biggest
Yeah.
trials that
Yeah.
we had, and we still find ways to laugh every day through it. I don't know how we would have made it if it weren't for that.
I don't think we would have made it.
And we wouldn't be the people that we are
That's
if
for
we had
sure.
succumbed to the
Yeah.
fear, the doubt, the insecurity, the food insecurity, even all the things that happened through those time periods. But there was this urging within us. I think this urging, this fire that we had within us to make that day worth it.
Yeah.
If all we had was that
Was
day,
that day? I know, that's what
we'll
I'm
make
saying.
that
And
day
that's what,
worth it.
and that really is, I mean, it's such a, if people can grasp, if you can really think about, like literally, if today was it,
yes.
what would I want to do? How would I
Yes.
want to be? How would I want to remember today?
Yes, and that's how it feels sometimes when the fear comes in with the ebb, the low points of the life. Sometimes that fear comes in and there's almost an emotional feeling of, I don't know if I'll survive. I don't think this is good. How can I go on? And there's all the questions that come up, even though the logical mind knows most likely you're in a situation where you're going to survive to the next day.
Of course, you're going to be okay.
And the fear comes up of questioning, will I be okay? Will I survive? And all of that. And so instead, being able to find the passion, find the fire inside in those moments, find the fire inside and learn, recognize, what do I have to learn in this? How can I let the voice of my soul really speak in this? How can I find joy? Where do I find peace amidst the chaos? That's that Anshin Ditsume we talk about in Reiki. Reiki really helps with that. But we all have these abilities in our soul to recognize it's about seizing the present moment. It's about not stressing about the future, not worrying about the past, but yes, reflecting, looking at what patterns have helped me to become in the space that I'm in right now. Is there a lesson to learn with this?
Always.
And how do I seize the moment by being fully here, fully present, no longer running? I think that's key.
And just let the fear go. Just let that fear go.
Yes, and recognize we're creating our legacy every moment, every day. Those hard times are points that we can shine the most.
We can be
when you do, when you rise to that level of shining in those ebb moments, those moments of fear, doubt, worry, all of that, when you let your light shine, your voice of your soul shine, then oh my goodness, the power and the abundance and the joy that is being flooded into your soul for those moments when life gets better, it's going to be heights that are ever greater than you would have ever imagined, because you lived up to your legacy of who you know you really are inside yourself, being present.
Absolutely. I hope you like this video, and please, if you haven't, go to our website, earthandskycenter.com.
We have so many classes coming up right now. There's a whole bunch on the website under the calendar section. Lots of classes now through the end of the year, and we're working up on the classes for for next year as well. So,
and thanks, and we'll see you next week.
Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.